Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something really powerful, our relationship with wealth. See, it's not just about the numbers in your bank account. It's about the story our money is telling. So let's get right into it.
So let me ask you something, and I really want you to think about this. Is your money silent? I mean, is it just sitting there, quiet, maybe tucked away somewhere? Or is it actually out in the world making some noise, working, creating something? It sounds like a simple question, right? But believe me, the answer says so much about how we think.
The reason so much money ends up being silent, it pretty much boils down to one really powerful emotion: fear. More specifically, it's the fear of scarcity. It's that little voice in the back of your head, the one that whispers, there's never going to be enough. So you feel like you have to just hold on tight to every single thing you have.
So what exactly is this scarcity mindset? Well, think of it like a psychological trap. It's this deep-down belief that resources are limited, that there just isn't enough for everyone. It's that zero-sum game thinking, where if someone else wins, you must be losing. And let's be clear, this is totally different from being smart with your money. This is about being paralyzed by a fear of lack, and that paralysis is what makes us want to hoard everything.
And this really sets up the two different worlds we can live in, right? Look at this. On one side, you've got that scarcity mindset. It's all driven by fear. It's all about hoarding, hiding. It's just a small, kind of scared way to live. But then you look at the other side, the purpose mindset. That's driven by a vision. It's about guiding your resources, investing in what's next. It's a world that feels abundant. And honestly, the choice between these two, it changes absolutely everything.
Okay, to make this super clear, let's jump into a quick story. It's about a guy named Ethan, and his story is just a perfect example of how someone can be trapped, not because they don't have enough money, but because of the money they do have.
So Ethan, he'd managed to save up a good amount of money. You'd think he'd feel free, right? But nope, he felt burdened by it. The money was right there, literally tucked away in an envelope, but it was totally silent. It wasn't doing anything. It had no voice, no impact, no purpose at all. Why? Because his fear of losing it had completely silenced it.
And this gets right to the heart of his problem. This quote just nails it. He didn't own his money. His fear of losing it owned him. Wow. I mean, he thought he was the one in control, but really, his fear was calling all the shots. His wealth wasn't a tool he could use, it had turned into his master.
But then, something shifts. There's a turning point. He has a conversation with a mentor figure, in this case his neighbor, a really wise woman named Mrs. Carter. And she shares this simple little analogy with him that just completely flips the script on how he sees his wealth.
So here's what she does. First, Mrs. Carter tells him, Ethan, imagine a single precious coin, and it's buried deep, deep in the ground. She asks, is it safe? And of course, the answer is yes, absolutely. Is it valuable? Well, technically, yeah. But then she hits him with the big question. What is it doing? Nothing. It's completely useless, just sitting there alone in the dark. It's not helping anyone, it's not creating anything, and boom, that was a perfect picture of Ethan's silent money.
But then she gives him another image to think about, a rechargeable lantern. Now, a lantern's whole job is to be used, right? Its purpose is to burn through its energy to light up the path ahead. But here's the cool part. By lighting the way, it actually helps you find new places, new opportunities, even new spots to recharge itself. It creates value by being active, not by sitting in a box. And this is the core of her wisdom, this powerful idea she shares with him. She says, wealth isn't a treasure to be hidden from life. It's a tool to be guided through it with purpose. It's not a chest of gold, it's a lantern. And for Ethan, that was it. That was the big aha moment. Everything just clicked.
So now he's got this totally new way of looking at things, and it kicks off a whole journey for him. He's on a mission to completely transform his relationship with his money. No more hiding. From now on, it's about guiding. He decides he's finally going to make his money speak. And his journey, it really boiled down to 3 pretty simple steps. First, he had to get real with himself and identify what was actually driving him. He had to admit that his decisions were all about fear, not logic or strategy. Second, he had to find a purpose. He had to stop focusing on what he might lose and start thinking about what he could create. And then finally came the big one. He had to take that first step. He had to actually put his money to work. So what did he end up doing? He actually took that money out of the envelope and invested it. He bought tools for a local community workshop. And just like that, his money wasn't silent anymore. Now it was the sound of saws, the sound of drills.
It was the sound of people learning things, of a community building something new together. He didn't just spend money, he created a totally new kind of wealth. Wealth built on connection, growth, and shared purpose.
Okay, so let's pull all this together. Because Ethan's story, it's not really just about Ethan, is it? It's a parable. It's a lesson for all of us about what the true purpose of wealth really is. So what are the big takeaways here? What did we really learn? Well, first off, wealth is a mindset long before it's a number in an account. We saw it clear as day. Fear makes you hoard, but purpose makes you invest. We learned that silent money, that money that's hidden away, it doesn't really have any value. Real abundance, the kind that matters, comes from creating and contributing, not just keeping. And maybe the biggest lesson of all, your money should be a tool that serves you, not a burden that you have to serve.
And that brings us right back to you. I want to leave you with this question. If your money could actually talk, what story would it tell about you right now? But even more important is this, what story do you want it to tell? Is it going to be a quiet story of fear and silence? Or is it going to be a loud story of purpose, of action, of abundance? Because at the end of the day, that choice, it's all yours.